don't know what's up with that person. I think that was a bot.
I'm picking a game that I think is really good. Failure is a part of any game. That's okay. May the Lord bless you. Well, he'll bless you too, because I'm gonna invade you.
All right, Turbles Celbor here with more solo v squads Fortnite on Nintendo Switch. So I am playing Fortnite Battle Royale on Nintendo Switch, and I am joining as a solo player onto the squads queue. Yep, that's pretty much what I do lately. So I actually had some questions about my recording setup, so I'm just gonna specifically about my network connection. So if you are trying to play Fortnite or really any multiplayer game on Nintendo, you will probably have heard that lag is an issue. So the Nintendo Switch's principal setup, and if you're not using an OLED switch, it doesn't come naturally equipped with it. The typical setup is in fact Wi-Fi, and having played online games for a very long time, Wi-Fi just is not good for multiplayer for a number of reasons, but the principal one is Wi-Fi signals fluctuate a lot. The network has to refresh continuously, things like that. You will potentially lose out or lose, you know what I mean? You will lose frames and response time due to lag. So I play via Ethernet connection. So here's the thing. The Nintendo Switch OLED, which is the upgraded version, the second iteration of the upgrade for Nintendo Switch, I guess makes it like the third version. The dock does in fact come with a ooh, wolves. Just a moment. Ooh, hold on there, buddy. There we go. So the dock for the Switch OLED version does in fact include a Ethernet port. However, the Nintendo Switch by itself, because it has a modified version of a USB-C port, it does in fact support an Ethernet connection, but what you need is an adapter that converts USB to Ethernet. So I actually purchased one of those. You can get them for about 15 bucks. And if you're gonna do it on Nintendo, I highly recommend you make sure that you're using one of the 3.0 ports on the dock. So the dock has, on the default, on all versions of the Switch, the dock should have one USB-C charging port, one USB 3.0 port on the inside, and then on the outside, the exterior, the Nintendo Switch has two USB 2.1 ports. The reason that I use the 3.0 port for the Ethernet connection is that my network uses gigabit, which has pretty much been the standard for a while, right? So you have a gigabit connection. In order to really utilize the gigabit connection to its fullest, you need to use USB 3.0 because USB 2.0 does not have the same kind of bandwidth incoming. So if you use the 3.0 USB, you will get much better. You'll be able to utilize the network to its fullest. Now that said, the real slowdown point, particularly if you're in the United States, is all of our internet providers suck. So you'll run into a serious issue where oh, here they go, they're shooting at me. You'll run into this issue where the real limiting factor is the crappy internet. I don't know what's up with that person. I think that was a bot. So basically my internet connection at home is a whopping 60 megabits. It's not megabits, it's actually megabits, but we'll worry about that later. So it's we'll just go 60 megabits down, and I think it's like 10 or 20 up, which is not very good. And that's like really the best that's available in my area. And because the US doesn't really regulate these people, they will make all kinds of outrageous claims that are just not really feasible. So like, for example, Comcast keeps telling me that they offer a gigabit connection in my area, and they don't. And the other thing they do is they say, even though it's not a gigabit connection, they can guarantee me speeds up to 300 megabits per second, But what they neglect to tell you is that in most, particularly if you live in an apartment, but in most residential situations, they use the same wire for like an entire block. So like, yeah, the entire block has 300 megabits per second because that's about what can go through an RxJ45 wire. Well, maybe not RxJ45, but the cable wires that they connect to a block. But the problem is they like daisy chain it. So there's only one, my building, for example, in my apartment complex, everybody's on the same cable, which means we all have to share a 300 megabit connection, which there are 12 units. So if everybody has Comcast, that's 300 divided by 12, assuming we're all using it at the same time, which is very likely because everybody's perpetually connected online now. So that said, internet is crummy where I'm at, which is why I wind up using the Ethernet anyway. Oh, here he comes. And he's gone. Well, okay, fine. Just drink this. But yeah, so any Switch version can use a wired connection, but for anything that's not the OLED, you are going to have to buy an adapter. But it will work just fine as long as you use the 3.0 port. Is if you use the 2.1, you might notice some lag. And sad to say it, but as far as I can tell, the Nintendo Switch is running everything through that tiny USB-C style port on the bottom, but it is not USB-C compliant because, for example, the Switch will draw 15 amps of power, which is not part of the USB 3.0 standard. It's actually above spec. So I don't know what the actual data transfer rate through that hole is, but I do know that I have seen better peripheral usage and stuff using the 3.0 port on the dock as opposed to the 2.1s. Ooh. Man, oh man, where? Oh, somebody's resetting. It's time to kill. Oh man. That's so lame. I couldn't get to him in time. Well, I'll just have to go over there. Slide. Yeah, I actually am kind of annoyed at Nintendo for not providing like the service manual for the Switch publicly, because it makes it a lot easier to know what to actually get and what to buy. Like I called them and they wouldn't tell me what the actual specs for the SD card reader were. So I don't know if I can use UHS 2 or UHS 1. So I'm forced to use UHS 1 because I don't want to like pay for something I'm not actually going to use. Because you can actually get SD cards that are more, what's the word I'm looking for? You can get SD cards that are more fast, that are faster than what the Switch's internal storage can do. Oh, did I get him? I got him. But that said, you have to actually have a SD card reader that can utilize it. So basically, most SD cards have a single data stripe. UHS 2 has essentially 2 levels of data stripe. Oh, they got me. Woo! How sad. Oh well, we tried.